Hi, welcome to Growing Home Acres. Hopefully you can hear me over Dave coming with the skid steer. I actually might just wait until, oh, he's gonna wait. So we are putting in some extra beds this year, and I'm gonna show you, we're gonna kind of show you how we're doing it. So let me flip you so you can see. So this area had been kind of dug up. I don't even remember what was here or why. I think we had tilled part of it, so it was very rocky. So what Dave is doing, we have this little dip right in here. I don't know if it's showing up that well on camera. So he's just trying to flatten it out a little bit for us so we can make another row. I know it looks like there's nothing planted right back in there. There are some plants, some are really small, some are seeds. So they just haven't popped up yet. So we do need the room. So to make our beds, we prefer to use cardboard or the feed bags, but we are out. So down here, you can probably see, there is a roll of garden paper. Problem is that stuff is not cheap. It's quite expensive. So we really don't want to use that. We got it off of Amazon. We're using it really as a last resort. So this bed had this area had kind of been plowed last year, although we'd probably like the soil to be a little less compact, but with Dave driving the skid steer on it, it really doesn't matter, I suppose. We'll try and broad fork, but we won't do that till next year once the paper, what's the word I'm looking for? Once the paper degrades. But so all we're doing, this first row had feed bags, this has the construction paper, is we're making roughly a 30-inch row. This is about 36 feet long, and we're just putting down the paper, and then we're putting down the compost and manure that we have that's no longer hot. And we're making sure, I know a lot of people do 18 to 24 inches for their, spacing for their walkways. We are doing it the size of our push lawnmower so we can easily mow it. So here's Dave. He's apparently planting weeds right now. He's gonna kind of fix this up so it's not quite as big of a dip in there, and then we'll start laying the paper. So here's what we did. We used the lawnmower as a guide. You can see that down there. And all we did was lay the paper, and then as the paper was being laid, because it was a little windy out, we just scooped a little bit of dirt on it to keep the paper from blowing up. And then Dave came by and just dumped the rest of the compost all along the bed. I'm going to rake it out while he goes and gets more compost now. And then once we get it raked, we are almost done. We're going to put cattle panels up on this one for more tomatoes. But that is pretty much that easy because we're not tilling anything up underneath it.
Okay. So I'm trying not to talk too quietly because I'm told I talk quietly on this. So we got our second row of compost down. So as you can probably see, this compost row is higher than that one. For one, this has been rained on, but for two, we decided to go a little higher with this one. Because one of the reasons is when I was planting the onions over here, I thought it would have been nice to have a little more compost for it to go into. So they are putting up the cattle panels because we're planting more tomatoes there. And that'll be our third row. And then hopefully we're going to end up with a fourth row. Now we do have a hill here that's got a bunch of wood that needs to be burned. It needs to be knocked down. It's all a process. So it's pretty easy to put the cattle panels in with that doohickey that Dave has. And we're just using some old, we went into our old pile of fence posts from the fence that we took down over here and are using those. There's nothing wrong with them. They're a little rusty, but not bad at all. And then not only are we putting tomatoes in here, we're companion planting with everything. So we're putting onions and celery if we have it, basil, anything that can be companion planted with tomato plants and tomatillos. We've got tomatillos in there for stuff. So marigolds is another thing. We planted, we might plant some yarrow even though it's perennial because it brings nutrients to the plants. And then we are going to be having the living pathways. Now what we're trying to decide, obviously there's grass in that one, or weeds. There's green stuff in there, and this one has more dirt in it. We have considered planting some more grass seed in there just to hold that dirt in, because the roots of grass is very dense and, you know, will keep it from getting muddy. We also have a lot of old bales of straw that we had around the camper that Sarah and David are living in, and the chicken coop, you know, to keep the wind, for a windbreak for the chickens and for under the camper. And we've got quite a bit of those. So we are using those on the beds here, but we thought about putting those in the rows. If you have any thoughts, you know, we like to hear what other people are doing and what works for them. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work in every region, but we still like to hear that. We want to show you what we're doing. Maybe you can use that. And if we see things or you tell us things that you're doing that we haven't done that we think we might want to try, we'll try it. Okay, so they're going to put up the cattle panels, and Jack has a hold of one of them. Hopefully he won't bean me with it. And all they do, Sarah might have shown this on another video, all you do with the cattle panels, we hold them up about 1 foot, and maybe could go a little higher than that, but 1 foot is what we do. And then they're put up with fence clips. So let me show you before they start. So these fence clips here, they're really easy to put on. It hooks over. There's a special tool you can use, but you can just use a pliers and a screwdriver too. You just hook it on, you squeeze that with the plier, and then you flip this around with the screwdriver. Super easy. I think we have 2 on each.
Yeah. So the bed is done. It took us maybe, what did we say, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Now we did not, like I had said earlier, I believe part of this was already tilled. So we did not really do anything with it. Now, yes, big farm equipment has been on it, but I think we're going to be okay. I mean, we'll find out, right, as we're growing in it.
It wasn't
We're
tilled.
trying to get all of our plants in the ground as quick as possible because we are a month behind.
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
a month behind.
So we opted to not till up the ground and just use the compost. Why do I want to say it's deep litter?
No, that's for chicken coops.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. But anyways, and just put the compost down on top of the paper or boxes or whatever you have. And we'll see. We're all about seeing what'll work.
And the reason, you know, you'll see grass on one spot here on I guess the left side from where we're standing, and no grass on the right side is because there was 2 giant stumps in the ground that I yanked out. There was a 6.5 foot deep hole here.
That's why. I couldn't remember why it was dug up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that part of the ground is soft, and then we tried to refill it and use decent dirt and get it so we could actually use it and grow it.
Yeah, it
but
was
I had
a
to
muddy mess yesterday
a
because
disaster.
it's low and it
was
rained
low,
so
yeah.
bad. So he filled that in with some of our old soil, the rocky soil that we had.
Yeah.
And we just go in and pick the rocks out,
And
the
we
big
went in
rocks.
and picked the rocks out. We did all that this morning. We're gonna, this will get planted. I have to work today. Sarah will hopefully be able to work on it.
Yeah,
but it's
maybe you
getting
and me
hot
can get
out.
it
It'll be
planted.
getting hot out again
And
today.
we're supposed to get rain, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
Trying to get what we can get done.
And all
before
on
the rain, because
Yeah.
it's supposed to rain for the next 4 days.
3 or 4
Off
days.
and on, maybe.
Yeah, some of the days are 80% chance. Some of them are like 60 or 40. Now, I probably won't get into this tomato bed today. It might have to wait until after rain, simply because I'm in the middle of a row planting our peppers. So I want to get that finished and just done. Sometimes it feels nice to actually check something off the list so you feel like you're accomplishing something versus having 50 things half done.
And trust me, I understand that.
So I don't have tons of holes left in there, so I'll probably get those done, and then we'll get the tomatoes in, but we probably still have another 25 tomatoes to plant. I think it's roughly 12 tomatoes fit in this row. We're going 2 feet apart. We might decide next year we got to go 3 feet apart, and that's going to mean even more rows.
Probably going to grow every year because we're doing the farmers markets, you know.
And we
now
want to sell produce at them,
Yeah.
not just seed starts.
and we want to sell from here.
Wait, you got to talk in the camera.
Sorry, I had to let Jack know. And then we want to sell from here too. We'd like to get a little farm stand going here if we can. But it's just so much. You can only do so much at a time, you know. And we have a ton of plants that need to go in the ground that we would prefer to put in the ground and not let die, you know. Otherwise, maybe we'll donate some.
And we started out a lot better this year.
Yeah.
So next year, hopefully, we'll be even more on time. We'll be better with our calendar and planting ground dates. Part of the problem is, and I've actually seen videos of other people. Oop, I'm sorry, I'm shaking here. Hold on, my hand's getting tired here. We've seen videos of other people who are supposed to be posting, but the rain stops us. So if we get 4 or 5 days of rain and then we have to wait a day or two for it to dry out, and then a day and a half later we get another 4 or 5 days of rain.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no planting. And I've seen where people in our area plant into June because the month has been so rainy in May, and that's kind of
Yeah.
a little,
And
we're
if you're
also just behind. But.
Yeah, and if you're planting for yourself, going into June is fine, but we're planting for the farmers market, and we actually stopped doing the farmers market the last
2 weeks
week.
now.
Yeah, for 2 weeks now. So the last week we did was the week before Memorial Day, and we actually had a sale on our plants to try and get rid of some of them quickly because we needed the time to be able to get our plants in here so we can bring organic produce to the farmers markets. And I think we're going to be off a 3rd week, and hopefully we'll get this done by then, and we'll have some great produce to sell to everybody.
Yeah. And in the fall, we got to be better. Like,
Yeah.
we have to get, if we're putting in any more beds or we are going to do more raised beds, we've got to get those in the fall, because that's part of our problem. If we weren't making these beds, you know, this was an hour and a half, we could have had this bed planted if we weren't making it.
But you can only do so much. You know, this is our second full year, right, on this farm?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Yeah. And you can only do so much. You can't get down on yourself because you can't get everything done. You just can't get everything done. It is the way it is. What we do want to do is get better about getting out here in the winter, because we have a lot of nice days in the winter, and we can do stuff out here in the winter.
Yeah, November,
And
December,
planning,
we could
getting
have
our
been.
beds together for the next year and stuff like that. So it didn't help that I had surgery on my hand and couldn't really do anything. And I'm going to have surgery again on this hand probably, but I'm going to try and time that better. So
If she does it in the fall, that would be a lot better.
yeah, we'll talk about it this time, and I'll do it. But this hand was really bad.
Yeah.
So
And there's only so much you can do with one hand.
yeah, especially when it's your dominant
Yeah.
hand. So thank you for joining us at Growing Home Acres.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yep. Telling us what you like to see,
Yeah.
what you'd like to see us show on our videos, what you're interested in. We're very interested in that. So thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next time.
God bless.
Bye.